Can you travel to Hungary with diabetes? Of course. Hungary is a very friendly and enjoyable place to experience. It's got grand architecture and history, plus some fascinating little out-of-the-way towns. And there are some important water spots, from the Danube River to Central Europe's largest lake. Be smart and be careful, and diabetes won't stop you. I'm still Jeremy, and I still have type 1 diabetes, but I travel all over the world. Here's my personal blood sugar report from 7 days in Hungary. First, an overview of my stats. In Hungary, I checked my blood sugar 29 times over the 7 days, and the average of them all was 176. The lowest was 59, and the highest, and I'm sorry to even have to say this aloud, was 402. The basic arc in Hungary was that the first couple days were pretty good, and then there were a couple days full of terrible high readings, and then I managed to turn it around pretty well for the last couple days. The thing about diabetes is it constantly teaches you some basic lessons, over and over, which you sometimes need. I was reminded yet again in Hungary that exercise helps blood sugar control. Who'd have thunk it? And junk food complicates it. Here are some wild and crazy blood sugar anecdotes from my week there. I always look to the first reading in a new place as a tone setter. It isn't really, but it's a travel superstition I've picked up over the years. After coming by train to Slovakia to the town of Miskolc, my first reading in Hungary was 97. Dinner was junk food from a local market, and afterwards I was 143, and the next morning, 69. Then a breakfast including Hungarian beets and a bus ride, and I was still under 200. Lunch was a chocolate crepe and water, and I took Humalog knowing that I was about to walk through some caves on a tour. I made sure to have juice and snacks with me. Afterwards, I was 66, and I had the juice. So I wasn't thrilled with all those lows, but overall, not bad in Hungary so far. That night, things got much crazier. We were the only people in the guest house, and the owners laid out a local meal for us. It was soup, 100 tons of rice, pickles, and an entire chicken. And to drink, homemade plum liquor in an unmarked bottle. I am not a big drinker, and my travel partner doesn't drink at all. So I'd sip mine, then drink hers. And every time I did, the owner would come back in the room and refill both glasses. Several glasses of liquor and way more rice than I ever eat later, I assumed my blood sugar would be in the 300s or worse. In fact, it was 195. Then about the same just before bed. I took a couple units of Humalog and was 123 the next morning. That's about as good as it gets with a crazy unknown meal like that. But then there was the junk food problem. After a chilly, rainy picnic from the only shop in the tiny town of Agtelek, I was 2:57 on the bus to Budapest. Some pizza and a beer in the room for dinner is what punched my diabetes in the gut. 402. I took 4 units of Humalog and went to sleep, but all the next day it was hard to get it down. Finally, I was back under 200 in the evening, but a dinner of cereal and a banana ruined things again. This time I took 3 corrective units and woke up at 3 a.m. so low I didn't even check. I just ate some Twix. All this junk food wreaks havoc on you. Things were much better the next day as we walked all over Budapest and climbed up and down the hills on the west side of the Danube River. The exercise, in fact, worked too well. The sights were great, and I found my beloved soup in a bowl, but dinner had more carbs than I expected. Still, you take the victories where you can. Overall, it had been a much better day. The next day, in the community of Balaton beside Lake Balaton, things again were pretty good all day until dinner. This dinner was worth it though. Definitely a highlight of Hungary. I mean, look at this. The final full day in Hungary was another reminder about exercise. During a bike ride and a climb up to a nearby castle, things were pretty great all day. Even dinner at the same place as the night before didn't wreck me too bad this time. I'm learning. Exercise, quality fresh food, and smart insulin doses. It's such a simple formula, but so hard to repeat consistently, especially while traveling. So things were up and down, but I detected a lot of positivity in my Hungarian readings. I found that the better the food, the better the readings, and that the occasional junk food isn't really a problem. And of course, exercise, as long as you're careful about lows, is the great stabilizer. I heartily recommend Hungary for any traveler, diabetic or not. There's a lot to see, and trains and buses can take you all around the country. The local culture is everywhere. Hungarians are proud of their nation, and just being there gives you a warm feeling. Plus, the people are some of the very nicest I met in the entire 4 months in Europe. If you go to Hungary, you'll love it. Just be smart about diabetes, always know what's happening with your blood sugars, and you'll have an even better time. Thanks for watching. Next will be the small country of Slovenia, which is particularly beautiful, but where my blood sugars seem to be in the mid-200s much of the time. Hey, at least there were no readings over 400. Check out my other videos for travel tips, stories from my own travels, and my experiences as a type 1 diabetic wanderer. Don't let diabetes stop you from doing anything. See you on the road.